Hi, you all just solved a U-try problem where you got to solve a rational equation. I was nice and didn't give you a word problem. I shortcutted you straight to the equation to see how that equation solving went. So let's take a look at it. For this one, we have 1 over x plus 1 over x minus 1 equals 7 over 12. So when you're solving a rational equation, the best first step to do is to multiply both sides of your equation by your least common denominator. My denominators are x, x minus 1, and 12. So the LCD that I'm going to be multiplying everything by, it includes all of those terms. There's no overlap. So x, x minus 1, and 12. I'm going to multiply by all three. So let's just take a look at that one term at a time. So if I multiply 1 over x, that first term, by x, x minus 1, and 12, what's going to happen is the x's divide out, right? So then I have 1 times x minus 1 times 12. Well, 1 times 12 is 12. 12 times x is 12x. And 12 times negative 1 is negative 12. All right, first term, checkbox. Next term was 1 over x minus 1. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply it by that LCD. X, x minus 1, and 12. So that second term, what's going to happen is the x minus 1's divide out. So I've got 1 times x, which is x, times 12, which would be a positive 12x. All right, equal sign. Last term is 7 over 12. I'm going to multiply that also by the same thing. I'm going to multiply by my LCD, x, x minus 1, and 12. Okay? In this one, the 12's divide out. I've got 7 times x, which is 7x. And then that 7x times x will be 7x squared. 7x times negative 1 would be negative 7x. And so you'll see at the end of that step, after multiplying everything by the LCD, I have a nice equation that has no denominators anymore, which is really nice. I also notice that I have an x squared, which tells me that this is quadratic. So let's do our quadratic solving kind of things, okay? So let's get everything on the same side first so that it's in standard form. Over here, we got 12x plus 12x, which is 24x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 24x from both sides. So those will all cancel. And we'll have a 0 over there. The minus 12, what I'll do here is add 12 to both sides. Sorry about being messy, but negative 12 and positive 12 equals 0. So now I have 0 on the left side. On the right side, I've got a 7x squared. I can combine like terms here. Negative 7x minus 24x would be negative 31x. That's right. And then we have a plus 12. All right. Now this one, I don't know if it factors or not. It just doesn't look very pretty. So how about we try one of our other methods? Let's use the quadratic formula. X equals opposite of b. So the opposite of negative 31 is positive 31. Plus or minus the square root. I've got b squared. So 31 squared is 961. I'm going to do minus 4 times my a value, which is 7, times my c value, which is 12. All over 2a, so 2 times 7 is 14. All right, let's keep going. Let's simplify this nicely. So 31 plus or minus. All right, so if I do, let's see here, 4 times 7 times 12, I'll get 336. So I'll get 961 minus 336. Okay, it's still over 14. And if you do that subtraction, 961 minus 336, you'll get 625. So 31 plus or minus the square root of 625, everything's over 14. And that's actually a perfect square, which tells me I probably could have factored it earlier, but I don't know, I guess I was intimidated by the larger numbers or something. But the square root of 625 is 25, so now I've got x equals 31 plus or minus 25 all over 14. So then I've got a couple options. I can do 31 plus 25, which would be, 3 plus 2 is 5, 1 plus 5 is 6, so 56 over 14. My other option, I could do 31 minus 25, which would be 6 over 14. And both of those simplify, so let's do it. 56 actually divides by 14 perfectly, so 56 divided by 14 is 4. 6 over 14, we can just simplify the fraction. They're both divisible by 2. So I can simplify that to 3/7. So there's my two answers. X is 4, or X is 3/7. If you want to double check them, you're welcome to. The main thing I always look for in those rational expressions is that they are compatible with the denominators. So my undefined values for the denominators, with the 1 over x, x can't be 0 because then you'd be dividing by 0. With 1 over x minus 1, x can't be 1 because then we'd also be dividing by 0 because you do 1 minus 1 is 0. And so I kind of look to make sure, like, did I get a 0 or did I get a 1, anything undefined? And so that's a pretty quick check for me on these. Okay?